Hey everybody, Ryan from Pi Records. I'm here with Mike from the Furious Waves radio show. And what do you know, second time on for the Dirty Licks. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy this is the first thing I get to do in my day.
Nice, nice.
So,
And I appreciate you having me on here for this.
oh yeah, no problem, man, no problem. First tell me about where the Dirty Licks are in this day and age. I know that was a couple of years ago I interviewed you.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy playing, and we've done a lot of recording. We have more than an album recorded, and we're ready to. It's ready, been mastered, ready to kind of release whenever we feel like it. We've been a little casual about it, just because we've been playing a lot. Um, we're actually getting ready to we're I'm about 3 hours from now. I'm playing a downtown beer crawl here in Tucson,
Oh
Arizona.
wow.
So we're doing music for that. And next week we're heading out. We're playing here. We're headed to El Paso and Albuquerque, and we're doing the Surf by Surfeast in Austin. So we're really stoked to be part of that too. So we've been pretty busy, actually, doing a lot of playing, traveling around a little bit, trying to get a little bit more out of Tucson.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, I know Chad puts on that show, Southern Surf Stomp.
Hmm.
That's not too far from you guys, Surf by Surfeast, is it?
What's in Austin? That's about I think I timed it out. It's about an 11-hour drive from El Paso.
Oh
So we're gonna
wow.
play El Paso and then leave and head to Austin directly to go there. So it's a bit of a drive, but it's doable.
Okay, okay. All right. The main reason I contacted you is because I'm interested in your show. Um, I've been following you on Instagram for quite a while now, and as much as I can, I check out what's going on, and you really put a lot of effort into it. Do you want to talk about how that started?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I First of all, I've been a surf fan for as long as I can remember, and well, that's kind of a long time now because I'm an older guy. I guess I've wanted to do something on radio for a while too, and they have this station here in Tucson that started a few years back. It's called Downtown Radio, and the thing about the Downtown Radio, it's a cool group of people. They started as a volunteer radio station and established themselves as a nonprofit. Um, and so they have all volunteer DJs here. And so I think I saw a blip somewhere on social media about we're looking for DJs. And I got a hold of them and said, I'd really like to get on the radio, but I want to do a surf show. That's something I wanted to do for years. And they said, thanks, but no thanks, actually.
Oh wow.
They started out and said, yeah, we don't need that. We need rock mix people, people who are going to do the generic thing. And I just wasn't real interested in that and was a little disappointed. But now I have a friend who's another musician in town who does a couple of shows, and he's one of the OGs for the station. He's been there since the inception. And we were actually, a couple of bands were traveling together, and we were talking one day, and I said, his name is Ted. I said, Ted, I've been trying to get on this radio station, but I don't think they want me. And he said, you know what? The Rockabilly show just went off the air, and there's this spot on Thursday nights, which would be perfect for me, by the way.
Yeah.
And he said, they're looking for someone. I'll put in a word for you. So this was about a year after they turned me down. And so he did, and they got a hold of me and said, well, we want to see what you would do. And so they wanted me to put together a set list because I think they were afraid I was just going to play a bunch of Ventures covers,
Right.
and they didn't want that. So I put together a set list for them, which actually turned into my first show. And they said, this looks great. It got me right on. So it's been really good. We've had, uh, we don't get together too often, but we're starting to do that more often. So I'm getting to meet all of the DJs in the station. It's just a really good group of people. We had a DJ meeting a few weeks back, and they were encouraging us to play surf local bands, right? Not surf, but local bands. And I think one of the guys looked at me and said, how many local surf bands are there, Mike? I said, well, there's four. That's it. There's maybe four. Um, but it's really been a good experience. I get excited about doing a show just about every week, and so I haven't missed a week yet. Even when I'm heading out on the road, I'm working on the show. So it's been good so far.
So people can hear yourself on downtownradio.org. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the station has a live presence here in Tucson, but outside of Tucson, you can find it at downtownradio.org, all no spaces. There's also an app. If you go into the App Store, or, Google Play or something like that, there's a Downtown Radio app, so you can pick it up wherever you want on your phone
Oh,
anytime. So it's pretty handy. Now, I've also been putting the shows up on Mixcloud since I hit about 60 something. I figured, let me see if anyone's interested. And I've been pleasantly surprised that, people are listening to the show from Mixcloud too. So maybe it's going okay.
yeah,
So
that sounds great. Here's a cool question. What was it um on that first list that you gave the station that made them go, okay, this guy knows what he's doing? What were the some of the bands that sold the show to them?
I don't know. I have to. That's a couple of years ago, but I do remember putting the Evan Stones on there. There was an obscure Man or Astro Man track I wanted to put on there just because I figured, well, they'll know who they. I hope they know who that is. And it was just kind of a mix of some put Arno to see in the Clockwork Wizards, so some interesting things that challenged them and kind of some things to hopefully pique their interest. So.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's been a couple of years now. So,
yeah, it's excellent. Well, how many years exactly?
well, I'm getting ready to do show number 104. So I'm coming up on 2 years right now.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I don't think the first time I talked to you that you had this.
I didn't. In fact, it was something I still wanted to do. I think the first time you talked to me, I was in between I got turned down and then I got accepted. so um so it was still something I wanted to do, but they hadn't let me in the on the secret handshake yet. So
Yeah, yeah. There's so we have lots of shows, John Paul and Balak, DJ Dotty, Clint
mhm.
Beachwood, like there's tons of shows. What makes yours your unique?
Well, first of all, I want to say I like every other show. I listen to Hunter King's show. I like the Storm Surge Reverb show. I like DJ Dottie's Paradise Cove show. I listen to Jam and James Riley. Pretty much all of the Clint Beachwood show. I like all those shows. I think the thing that I keep in the back of my mind, and I'm not sure how successful I am at it, but what I'm trying to do is there's a lot of people that have a lot of information, a lot of people who know like the lineage of bands and musicians and surf, and kind of like to give that backstory. I want to do something a little different. I want to make it so normal. It's like you turn on the radio, this is what you hear, that's just normal. So I don't do a lot of that. I make it like this is just a regular radio station playing regular music that you should know. And so with that, I don't do a lot of information sharing, occasional. But I think I do the show that I think I would like to listen to if I just turned on the radio. I don't know if it comes off that way, but that's kind of what I have in mind. And I like to throw in movie trailer clips and other
Oh,
things that are entertaining, other than the information stuff. There's other people that do that really well. So I just want to make it a regular music show.
yeah. It's interesting you say it that way because during the pandemic when I started this podcast, um a lot of people were open to me interviewing them in the surf community, which I thought was amazing. But my impression was that the scene was very small. And as after the pandemic, the lockdown, and things started opening very slowly, I realized exactly how enormous uh this scene is. And I want to know your thoughts on um what seems to be a fourth wave.
Well, that's an interesting question. I know that, historically there's been some friction between, is it surf music or is it surf rock, and don't call it surf rock, and all of that. But I think that the influence of so many different genres on people who play like traditional surf has just expanded kind of what we think of as surf music. I also think that there's a lot of influence from surf that's expanding into other music too. I mean, we can go back to like the Dead Kennedys and talk about, East Bay Ray playing surf style guitar.
Yeah.
Um, I think, I just think that the influence of different genres on what who people who identify as doing surf music or something like that is just opening up everything. And maybe it's a little loose, maybe we need another term for it, but I think it's exciting.
Do you see a change in the scene and maybe a wider acceptance of surf at this point?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I don't know I don't know how to respond to that. Right. I think that I, I think there are bands who do surf who feel like they have to throw in a lot of traditional surf tunes, in a set, because that kind of gets them in the door, or that's the connection with the audience. If you go out and the expectation is you play surf, and I would hope that I would hope there would be kind of more open arms for bands who aren't necessarily doing that, but playing some of their own stuff that is maybe influenced by other genres.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of ducking the question a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So I think that's my take on it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
interested in what you think. You talk to lots and lots of people. What do you think about that idea of a fourth wave?
Um, well, like I said, I noticed that there was a lot of it, since the pandemic, a lot of people came out of the pandemic ready to go. They came out of the shoot ready to go, and for me, it's like never ending. It's like I don't have to worry about there's no bands to interview today. Like there's always 10 or 15 that I could call in one day. And
Yeah.
because I don't want to overdo it. But I wouldn't I wouldn't know if it's a fourth wave. All you scenesters would know better than me, the impact that the music is having right now. But I sure know a lot of people have been investing in, putting out more vinyl, more CDs, uh,
Uh-huh.
even digital. Like their releases go from being once every 2 years to maybe two, three a year.
Yeah.
And that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah. I'm never at a loss looking for new music to play. There's
Yeah.
there's so much coming out. And that to me is that's exciting too. Um, just because it's a bit of an obsession for me. So I'm always looking, and thankfully always being rewarded by new music coming out. So lots
Yeah.
of good stuff.
Yeah. Do you let's do this. Pick um an early influence or early band, a surf band or instrumental, and one more modern, um, that really kind of, that turned your head when you heard them.
well, I've always been a bit of a, I've been a Dick Dale fan, and you know, going way back as a guitar player, I've always been into like the garage and the kind of evil sounding people like Davey Allen and Blink Ray and that kind of stuff, and Dwayne Eddy, and how that kind of like progressed into surf stuff. Um, I think, and then kind of through the years, there was a band that I came across that I really liked called the Woodies. They were out of Southern California, and I think they were, I want to say early '90s. I was at a music convention, and someone handed me a promotional CD. It was this thing called Three Headed Gidget, and it had early Pollo Del Mar, Brazil 2001, and this band, the Woodies, and that band just really caught me. They just had a real good vibe to them, and so I think they only put out one full length release, but it's a, you know, it's a really good one. So um, current bands, I mean, there's so many of them. I wouldn't want to leave people off the list. There's so many people I listen to, from the more traditional sounds, like the Supertones just put out a couple of releases, which I really like. And then the Meteoroids just put out some stuff. There's a band out of California called the Wretched Edsels, which they just released a couple of songs, and the guitar player from them sent them to me. They sound really good, really tasty guitar stuff. Um, so I don't know, there's too many to name. I mean, just listen to my show.
Wonderful. I really appreciate you doing this. Before I go, I want to remind everybody, Mike is in Arizona, and downtownradio.org is where you can listen to Furious Waves radio show, which is amazing. Follow him on Instagram because he has really a lot of good information there, which is enough to get you to go listen anyways. Um, but Mike, is there anything you'd like to add before we go that I may not have touched upon?
Um, no, I think I noticed that you were out at the Surf Guitar 101 last year. I think. Was it
Uh,
the year before?
the year before. Last year I was sick.
Oh, sorry
Yeah,
to hear.
it's
But
all.
this year I will be there. So there's
Oh,
nothing that's going to stop me. I mean, I looked at the lineup. So if anyone is listening and is out there and bumps into me, you know, say hi.
yeah.
I I do want to say also, you can get my radio show on Mixcloud. So if you go to Mixcloud and search The Furious Wave, you can find me there too.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Mike, thank you so much for coming on again. And it was a great conversation. I'm sure we could go on for hours, but Zoom is about to kick me off.
All right. Well, I appreciate you reaching out, Ryan. I'm very appreciative of everything you do. So uh, to promote everything. So I hope you keep at it.
Yeah, I'm slowly. I took a little bit of a break, slowly getting back into it, but um, music is my first love, so whatever I can do.
All right. Well, take care.
You too, Mike.